Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have my June wrap-up to share with you. If you've been around for a while, you may have noticed I do mid-month wrap-ups and end-of-the-month wrap-ups. Now, I have been reading less and less every single month. That's just because I've gotten busy, or it's just taking me longer to read things. And I'm not mad about it because all the books that I've been reading are books that I've actually been really enjoying. I mean, I've had a couple misses, but most of them have been hits, so for June, this will be the last month where I do a mid-month wrap-up and an end-of-the-month wrap-up. And that's because I only have 5 books to talk about in this video. So I will link my mid-month wrap-up in the cards and the description box below. You can go check out all the books that I read in the first half of June, and I read 10 in the first half of June. Now, the end of June was crazy. There was Book Bonanza, which I'm wearing my Book Bonanza shirt that we got this year. Super cute, love the pink, love the unicorns. But I obviously did not read during Book Bonanza because it was wake up at 6 a.m., go to bed at midnight. We were doing things the whole time. So I really didn't read until we got on the plane to come home, and then I was trying to read on the plane and I fell asleep. So, and then when I got back on Sunday, Monday picked up, I took a rest day. I read a little bit, but I really just slept most of the day. And then I kind of got back, I jumped right back into work, had to read some things for work. So yeah, 5 books it is for the last half of June, but I will say that this video is going to be super short because of that. And instead of taking 2 videos to dedicate to a wrap up every single month, because I'm not reading 30 plus books like I was maybe last year. So yeah, if you see in July there's no mid-month wrap-up, that's just because I'm going to be posting just a general July wrap-up and then so on for the rest of the month. Like always, I'm still going to give you statistics. So for the last half of June, I read 2 physical books and 3 audiobooks. I had no physical books. That brings my total to 15 books. I had 2 physical books, 4 ebooks, and 9 audiobooks. Like I said, audiobooks is really how I've been reading. That's just because I can pop one in while I'm doing other things for a breakdown of genre. We're sticking with the contemporary and dark romance. I had 1 dark romance and 4 contemporary romances. I had no 5 stars for the last half of June, 1 4.5-star read, 2 4-star reads, and 1 3.5-star, and 1 I did not rate, and I'll get into that. So for the total of June, I had 6 dark romances, 9 contemporary romances. For a breakdown of the ratings for the whole month of June, 3 5-star reads, 2 4.5 stars, 4 4 stars, 3 3.5 stars, 2 3 stars, and 1 I did not rate. Now, with all that being said, let's just go ahead and jump at the books that I read in the last half of June. All 5 of them. Are you ready? Okay. So the first one was Don't You Dare by C.E. Ricky. So I actually read this for my Patreon exclusive video that I posted right before I think I left for Book Bonanza, or while I filmed it before Book Bonanza. So I posted it while I was there. And I am someone who I've been a fan of C.E. Ricky's writing for a while now, since I read Iced Out. And with her books, it's either you get super high tension, sexy, spicy good time, or you get super emotional. And this one kind of fell on the super spicy good time, but because I read a super emotional book by her, I wanted that. So this one did hit a lot of things. I don't know when this was published compared to the other books. It says 2022, but I still really enjoyed it. I gave this one 3.5 stars. It's not my favorite. It's not like a bad read or anything like that. I just wish that the ending of this book did not wrap up as quickly as it did, because it was an extremely emotional situation between our two main characters. So it's an MM romance. C.E. Ricky exclusively writes MM romances. And in this one, we see these 2 friends that have been literally best friends since they were kids. They both lost their dad in a car accident, and they're starting college together. Well, they're in college together. They live together. They're roommates and stuff like that. And they're at this party, and there's a dare, and you see that they're supposed to kiss. And then one of the characters pushes the other one away because it brought back memories of the first time that actually happened, where they were dared to kiss in like high school, I think. It was right before they started college. So he was just like, I felt something with that kiss, and it made me question my sexuality. And his friend's like, what the heck? Why didn't you never tell me this? So now it's kind of this, let's experiment together. I'm always there for you as you're my best friend, but I want to be there for you with this. So if you need me to experiment anything with, I'm here for you. And that turns into this whole sexual awakening for both of them. And while I did love reading that, I just felt like the end, they had a lot of things to work through, and it was like wrapped up very quickly. And I just wish it was like 75 more pages of, really them trying and one of the characters groveling because he really did screw up. And that's just what I wanted to see. But it was still an overall really good read, and I really enjoyed this one. Just not my favorite C.E. Ricky romance, but Yeah, I like how not polarizing, but how different both of the characters are. Like one is super athletic. He plays on, I think, the baseball team. He's a catcher for a baseball for his college baseball team, and then the other is like an architectural designer. Like he wants to draw and he's very artistic in that way. So I really did like it. I thought it was a really cool story, just not like my favorite by her. The next book I read was The Unwanted Marriage by Katerina Mora. So I read this one and I was really nervous to go into it. I gave this one 4.5 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star read, and I'll tell you why. So this is the third book in the Windsor series. I think it's called the Windsor series. I picked this up at Book Bonanza. This was in our swag bag. So we got this for free and I had her sign it because I'm super happy I read this right before Book Bonanza, and my physical copy wouldn't arrive before then. So I'm super happy this was in the swag bags. But with this book, I was really nervous because I DNF'd The Wrong Bride a while ago. It was like a soft DNF. I wasn't liking the way it was going. And I never read The Temporary Wife. But Cheyenne from That Doll Book Girl told me that I could read this totally by itself and I wouldn't be confused. And I felt like you weren't confused with their romance, but you were confused with all of these different characters that were introduced at the beginning of the book because they're from the first 2 books. So that's why I didn't give it a full 5 stars. I still really enjoyed it. Like, Dion Windsor is like something else. So this is an arranged marriage romance where both of our characters are arranged to get married. They've known this for a while. And when Dion comes back into the country from London, he is like dead set on being with her, but like he's pulled away from her in the past because he felt like he was like struggling with stuff internally. But the way that he treats our female character, I forgot her name, Faye, that's her name. The way he treats Faye is like so worshiping, but not in like a worshiping way, if that makes sense. He literally wants the best for her in every single way. The same reason why I gave it 4.5 stars is not because I was a little confused by all the characters, but also like it still would have been a 5-star read, but also at the end of the book, there were some things that like she had to work through as a character. And the reason why they weren't together, like they had to take time apart, was because of her. I won't say why, but she just had to work through some things. And it made me so mad because I hated that part. I don't like it when especially female characters do that, because I was like, there's a way to work on it together. So it was a 4.5-star read just because of those 2 things, but I really, really like this one. This one is up there with Forever After All by Katerina Mora for me, so highly recommend this one. I wish I would have read the other 2 because I felt like I wouldn't have been so confused with some of the characters, but it was still a really good read. And the next book that I read was On Thin Ice by Ellie Cotton, and this is the one I did not rate, and it's not for any particular reason other than, if you don't know this, I own a PR company called Forever and Always PR. I run that with Jess from Peace of Books. We obviously work with a lot of different authors, and we read books to kind of pull out excerpts to make like reels or little teasers or anything like that. And as you know, I'm a big fan of Ellie Cotton, Break the Ice, which is a book that I read earlier this year, really, really loved. It's a hockey romance. This is the second book in that series. I don't want to rate books that we're getting paid to like promote as a PR thing, but I will still talk about them in my wrap up. So this book is more of a grumpy sunshine. Our male character is super grumpy, has a lot of things going on. Now, a couple things I wasn't expecting in this book. Our female character has celiac disease, which I thought the representation was so good, and I'm surprised she didn't market it that way because a lot of people would have picked it up if she would have marketed it that way. Also, I heard that the autism representation with our main male character's brother was done really, really well, so I'm really happy about that. I mean, I thought it was done really well, but I know people who do have autistic kids or deal with autistic kids on a daily basis, like if they work with them or anything like that, they said that it was a great representation of that. So I think this book was really, really good. The development of the romance was very, very good. The narrators did such a good job because I listened to the audio, so this is the one that I really loved, and I'm glad I read it, and yeah, I'm still a fan of Ellie Cotton, for sure. The next book I read was Meet Your Match by Candy Steiner. So this is one that I picked up at Book Bonanza. She had early copies of this. So if you're watching this right now, this book comes out July 7th. So I'm really excited for people to pick it up. I rated this 4 stars. Now with this book, it was super fun. That's the best way I can describe this book, is that it was super fun. It's a hockey romance. We see our main male character, he's playing in the NHL. You know, he has a lot of money, he has women all over him. But then you see our female character where she is trying to make a name for herself in her career. Like, a lot of people sometimes don't take social media as like a real job, but it is. You can make a lot of money, you can go very, very far with your career, and it takes a lot of work. And she's working for the Tampa Bay Babes, I think it's called, which is a group of women that kind of have this podcast and stuff like that. So she starts working with them, and they have this brilliant idea where you're going to spend 1 month with the rookie of the Tampa Bay hockey team, and you're going to follow him around, post him on Instagram and stuff like that. And I liked that it was because of that reason they were forced together. She's forced to like move in next to him and all this stuff like that. So forced proximity, hockey romance. The banter is off the charts, and it is pretty spicy, I will say. Now, this is not my favorite Candy Steiner book, but it was such a good, enjoyable read. Like, it was one of those books where I read this before I was going to sleep at night, so I didn't have time to read it, like, all in one sitting. But when I had to put it down, I was kind of sad. I was like, I have to go to bed, but, like, I'm really sad to put this book down. But I was looking forward to picking it up when I went to bed the next night, like reading before I went to bed. So that tells me that this was a pretty solid book. It kept my attention throughout the whole book, but sometimes it can dip with some books, but this one was a solid 4-star read, really fun. I mean, it's not the best hockey romance I've read. I wish they would a little bit more hockey, but you do get to see a decent amount of hockey, which I can't say for a lot of hockey romances out there, but this one is definitely a hockey romance with some hockey, with on the ice time, great banter, great spicy times, great quotable things. So I would highly recommend picking up this book when it comes out July 7th. Love this one. And the last book I have to talk about is Salt in the Wound by Sierra Simone. So it was Friday night, June 30th, and I thought I want to get to 15 books for the month, which that means I had to read one more book. And I knew at 7 o'clock at night, I was not going to pick up a full-length book and finish it. There was no way that I was able to do that. So I picked up this novella. Now, with Sierra Simone, she can be very wordy, okay? This is a novella. It's 159 pages, but the inside is tiny. So tiny. So I did finish this, but it was a little after midnight. It still count. I wasn't going to bed. Now, one thing with Sierra Simone's writing is I particularly love is she has a way of bringing two things really together. And she writes a lot about Catholicism a lot, which as someone who did grow up Catholic, I know I'm not Catholic anymore. Like, I don't consider myself Catholic, but I like the way that she has one character that is holy and wants to do God's work on the earth. She wants to be a nun. That's what our female character wants to do. But then you have our main male character, which you do see him in the American Queen trilogy, whatever that trilogy, I forgot what it's called. But you do see him. He is the owner of the sex club in that book. And that is our main male character in this book. And when I tell you, I had my bookmark still left in there. I really enjoyed this book. It set up the next book, which comes out in November. I can't wait. I can't believe I have to wait till November for this book, but it's Salt Kisses by Sierra Simone, because this is the prequel. It kind of shows the before the arranged marriage part for our female and male characters, and I really, really like that, and also introduced the MMF, the other M in that story. So I gave it 4 stars. It was a good prequel. Sierra Simone's writing is very much flowery, kind of like Gianna Darling's writing, but for some reason, and like Chloe Walsh's writing. And for me, that just works. I love their writing. For some reason, flowery writing really works for me. Same thing as Jessa Hastings. So for some reason, that works for me. It's not going to work for everyone, but I like the way that she details things as well. She really does a really, really good job of detailing just like their thoughts, how they feel conflicted about the church and different things, and I personally really like that. That's just me, but it was a good prequel. I'm glad I read it, and that was the 5th book to round out this end of the month wrap up, but the 15th book that I rounded out June with. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. For the emoji for this video, drop me a purple heart emoji, because this book is like purpley blue. Drop me blue, purple emojis, anything like that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.